Welcome to Mr. Brown's Basement, a channel devoted to sharing the craft of repairing, restoring, and modifying vintage electronic gear, and other random stuff. Today's project is a realistic STA-78 receiver. It's come to me mostly in working condition with a few issues which I'll tackle in this video. But first, a little background is in order. Realistic was a brand of a retailer called Radio Shack, which at one point operated over 8,000 stores worldwide. They had neighborhood stores that sold consumer electronics and electronic components, mostly by salespeople who were passionate about technology. Radio Shack had many house brands, of which the Realistic name was given to radio and audio equipment. The Radio Shack line had low-budget products, but also had medium to high-end gear. This Realistic STA-78 was a mid-tier receiver from 1978 to 1979. It was a lot of money.
Today's project is outside Mr. Brown's basement. The case needs some help because somebody brilliantly stuck Scotch tape to the surface and made a mess of it. Most unfortunate. The first stage will be to slide out the guts. This puts out 22 watts per channel. I suppose it could have a beefier power supply. Certainly certain manufacturers were known for extremely heavy-duty power supplies, but this looks okay. The boards say Realistic on them, which means that they were made to order. Here are the output devices on a good-sized heatsink, and it's not that dusty, but I'm going to brush it off anyway. I think it's starting to rain. That's not a good thing. The rain has stopped, but I'm going to use this stuff. This is okay on wood as long as the wood is finished, which it is. It's rough and will probably require some finish afterwards, but we'll see. I've worked for about an hour with the Goo-Gone, and I've done a reasonable job of removing the adhesive and the tape, but there are spots where it looks like the finish has been permanently damaged, maybe even crazed. And here on the side, it's not bad. Anyway, I gotta let any remaining Goo-Gone evaporate, and I'll wipe it off one more time. And then I'm going to touch up the stain. It's not looking too bad until you look at it at an angle. You can see that the wood needs something to protect it. So I'm going to take some satin walnut stain, and I'm going to not paint it on with a brush, but I'm going to rub it on, or actually rub it in, just a thin coat, just to seal up the wood and to restore its color. It'll be quite nice when it's all finished. It looks like the rain has stopped, so I can do the staining outside, which is better. I've got some Minwax Poly Shades Pecan, and this is satin finish. And to apply it, some of my brother's underwear.
For the next step, I'll need the service manual, and I was able to find it online. I've got some company today. My neighbor, Ms. West. Hey neighbor, are you enjoying the video?
Yes.
Can I get you to subscribe?
Just try.
You look unwell. Let me offer you a bottle of water.
Look what you've done!
Oops.
I'm melting! Melting! Oh!
Oh, shoot. I guess it's too late for Ms. West to like and subscribe, but it's not too late for you. Anyway, I've got to look at the chassis.
I've plugged it in and turned it on. All four of these fuse-shaped lamps work. I could convert them to LED and probably will once one or more blow, though I might actually have some spares. Let's see if the stereo light works. Gotta love those 70s backlit displays. Yeah, the stereo light works, but what is missing is the light on the meter right there. There's supposed to be light in there that lights up when it's on radio, and there is no light there. I have to take off these two screws here, and then there are three on the underside. The knobs pull straight out. I'll probably want to clean the knobs too. That will allow me to dust inside and get to the bulb that doesn't seem to be lighting. The faceplate came straight off. There were only two screws on the bottom. I had to take out a nylon tie over there so I could get some slack and see the bulb, which looks pretty blown. 12 volts, 0.15 amps. I'm going to see if I have something like this in stock. I did. Very nice. If I want to dust out behind the dial, I'm going to have to remove these screws on both sides and be very careful not to bend the pointer. That seems to be an awful lot of effort to clean anything. After loosening this pair of screws and the same screws on the other side, taking off this clamp and this clamp entirely, I could lift out the dial. It's still held captive by the stereo LED. This is the only way to get to and clean the lamps. This one over here looks quite worn. I suppose one could, with tweezers, nudge it out and get it in. It probably wouldn't be fun. Anyway, I'm going to clean the bulbs and then put it back together. It's dirty in there, and the bulbs were dirty too. This is just one swab from cleaning the inside using Windex. Don't forget to clean both sides of the faceplate as well as the knob shafts. Now that's looking a little bit better. Yes. Okay, let's connect up a speaker and see that both channels are working. Both sides seem to work, but it was a little scratchy. Seems to be okay on this side. Let's change channels here. Okay, it was scratchy because it hadn't been moved in so many years. I thought I would have to use some deoxit, but I don't. Maybe I do. Yeah, on the balance control. On the balance control, I need some deoxit. And you need to get the right deoxit, which is not contact cleaner, it's control cleaner. Sometimes deoxit doesn't work miracles. It did this time. Without you. It really did. I want to adjust the idling current of the amplifiers.
Here is the output stage. When it's properly adjusted, there's no voltage at the output terminal when there's no signal at the input terminal. In a Class B amplifier like this, it means making sure that both output devices are conducting the same amount when there's no signal. Here's where the balancing is done on the basis of the driver transistors.
That's what these two controls are for. Just measure the voltage across these outer resistors, 5 millivolts maximum,
and a maximum of about 25 millivolts across the two channels.
On the left channel, the voltage is about 10 millivolts, which is far more than it should be. Should be less than 5 millivolts. See if we can bring it down to 0. That's all the way over to one end of the potentiometer. So 0.2 millivolts, which is 200 microvolts, that's not too bad. On the other channel, okay, again it's about 9.5 millivolts. It's got to be adjusted. Of course, no signal. Oh, that's way off. Okay. Oh, about 0.4 millivolts, which is fine. Just fine. Let's get the voltage between the two, which should be very close to 0. The voltage across the two channels is nothing, which is what it should be.
Generally speaking, alignment of the AM and FM tuners is rarely required on solid-state radio. Unlike tube sets, where doing an alignment is routine, that's why I'm not going to do an alignment. Well, doesn't that look nice? There you have it, a rehabilitated STA-78. I hope you enjoyed this video from Mr. Brown's Basement. Please like and subscribe to see more content. In the future, I promise to be more careful with my bottled water. And you thought Dorothy did it.